So one, two, three, action. Hello, how are you doing today,
Pretty good. Thank you for having me,
Thank
Moses.
you for taking the time to talk to with us. Are you're based in Cairo, based in Dubai? You're travel between both countries. What's the deal?
Um, well, thank you for asking. I'm based out of Dubai, but
Yeah,
I'm currently between Dubai and Cairo.
in Cairo, great. Okay, so actually, I would like you to start by telling us a bit about yourself and your journey into the fintech industry. What
Sure.
really inspired you to
So,
write this book? I don't know if you have the book next to you, but it's a very interesting book. It's called FinTech Arabia. Here it is. Awesome. So we'll put a
well,
link to that book in the link under the video. That's a great idea. The book is titled FinTech Arabia, right?
correct.
And the world of payments. Could you tell us
Uh,
briefly what inspired you to write this book and why now?
yeah. So the inspiration for this book came when I wanted to write about the diversified payment methods of Arabia. So every Arabic country has their own payment method, and I wanted to put them in a single book. So the thought process behind this is that, um, okay, first of all, how many Arabic countries are there? 22. Has it always been that way? So I had to go back in history and extract some info. And then when I shared it with with an American editor or someone who revises the book, he's a retired dental surgeon. The most interesting aspect of the book was the historical part, which caught me by surprise, and it made me delve even deeper. So I started from the history of Arabia, 10,000 BCE prior, and how they initiated commerce, how they bargained, how they traded.
Mm,
So, to my surprise, it was something of a casino style of trading.
interesting.
So that's the beginning of the book.
Oh, cool.
That's the
Okay,
intro.
but that's and now you're putting it out. You've published it in Egypt, in Dubai. I've seen on LinkedIn that you've distributed it also to other people working in finance. Are we talking about
Correct.
people working in traditional finance or in the Web3 blockchain sphere?
That's a very good question. So the most interesting aspect of this book is that although it's called FinTech Arabia, it's not only for Arabs. This
Yeah.
is an invitation for Arabs and non-Arabs who would like to learn or explore not only historical aspects, but also the current and the future of technologies. As I mentioned, I delved deep in history, and then I had some people ask me, "Hey, what about the future?" So I had to blend in a mix of everything,
Exactly.
essentially.
It's all connected anyway. All right. So, growing up with a dual cultural background, with the like you're Egyptian American, do you think that your hyphenated identity influenced your perspective on fintech, payments globally?
Absolutely. So, being born in the U.S. and having a U.S. citizenship, I always thought about what am I more, or what is actually an American,
Yeah.
and is there such a thing as a pure American? So when I thought of the process, what came to my mind is that Native Americans are the original occupiers of the land, and then came forth Europeans, and then Asians, and then people from all over the world. And it struck me because I always wondered whether I have positive communications with others because I'm an American or as an or as an Egyptian. I
Yeah.
think it helps that I have that thankfully I possess both citizenships, but
Definitely.
it got me to ask, um, going back to the question of how many Arabic countries are there?
Yeah.
There are 22 Arabic countries, but has it always been that way? Actually, the book discusses that
We have to buy the
the
book.
absolutely The book discusses that the Arabic language or the Arabic tongue expanded from the Pyrenees Mountains of Spain up until the Himalayas of India and China. I just recently had a podcast or with a host who is as kind as you are, and he was from Malaysia,
Mm,
and so there's obviously a connection with Arabs between the East and the West, and this is what the book presents.
right. And it's I've actually I've read a bit of it, and the first couple of chapters are really fascinating. Before we delve more into your book, I'm aware that you made a YouTube video that went viral. It got 9 million views. And actually, it got me thinking, how could he, like, what happened? Like, how did you manage to get 9 million views on just one video? Because usually, YouTube channels, you need like published tons of videos, sometimes in the hundreds before you get any like traction. What happened? What did you do? And also, if you could also tell us a little bit about the video for those who are listening, don't know about
Yeah,
it.
sure. So I actually want to say that you are one of the very few people on LinkedIn, or let's say, or my professional network, who knows that I've done such a thing. And it's not so. For me, the name of the video is simply "Sell Me This Pen."
Like in a movie, right?
Uh, Precisely, Jordan Belfort,
Mm,
or The Wolf of Wall Street.
yeah,
So I wanted to share with people um, how what are the methods of selling things to people or organizations,
yeah,
which is when I was interviewing for my first sales job. It was difficult because I was searching for such a video and I couldn't find one. So that's where the idea sprung up.
right. Okay, yeah, your background is sales, right? You start out.
Correct.
Let's go into the book a little bit. I would like to know the key themes and insights you explore in your book.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
in a nutshell, and then I have a couple more questions about it.
Awesome. So the first chapter is the Arabic timeline.
Yeah,
So Arabs, they had their own. Let's say, if you ask, what is the history of Arabs?
right.
So the history of Arabs spans 10,000 BCE. Many people imagine Arabs as some sort of desert person who's riding on a camel who's going to sell you a magical lamp, let's say, and it's going to make all your dreams come true.
Yeah,
But although this is magical and it provides for beautiful scenery,
yeah,
the issue is it sometimes dehumanizes the person. Arabs are not, they do not belong in the desert. In fact, the entire Arabian Peninsula was divided into three parts. One was called Stony Arabia. The second was a bit of a middle ground. The third was full of vegetation. It was called Arabia Phoenix.
yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil more info, but
No,
uh, it so that's how Arabs started. They traded like a casino, like they were entering a casino. People spending money over there, over here on things that they didn't necessarily need. And then something major happened.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna spoil that,
Okay.
but
Interesting. Yeah,
the third phase is the golden Islamic age. I mean, you might guess, but anyway, the golden Islamic age, that's where a lot of scientists and innovators came about. So, for example, you have the father of modern optics, Hassan ibn al-Haytham. You
yeah,
have the father of cryptography, al-Kindi. You have the father of surgery. And they all sprung not only from Arabic countries. So the ones that I mentioned, they are from Arabic countries. Al-Kindi was from Iraq. His
yeah,
tutor,
yeah,
the original father of cryptography, was from Oman, a little known country. And um, Ibn Hassan ibn al-Haytham was an sorry, Iraqi
yeah,
who lived in Egypt.
yeah.
So
I agree.
that's quite, and not only that, but a Persian mathematician.
Yeah,
The House of Wisdom in Baghdad was the most luxurious, richest city of its time. And that's where Persian mathematician Al-Khwarizmi, who was the founder of algebra,
yeah,
considered to be the founder of algebra, um, published his work in that area. And he and Al-Kindi worked together. And that's where Arabic numerals, by the way, is 0, 1, 2, 3. That's where it
I'm
sprung
from.
about,
Exactly.
from
So
the
yeah,
Arabic
and
region.
even trade flourished back then as well. I mean, um, the whole region was quite ahead and different in many fields, not only in math and in commerce, international commerce, trade, math, as you said. All right. Can you share a specific challenge or opportunity you discuss in the book regarding fintech in the Middle East compared to the rest of the world?
Specific, absolutely. So, what I didn't mention one timeline, but it's very connected to your question.
Yeah.
The the thing people are unaware of, or one of the challenges, is that people are unaware of the regulations, the talent, how they should go about this region, and hence why I included the fourth timeline, which is modern Arabia,
Yeah.
and I include the pioneers or the talents of Arabia, including, for example, Dr. Hatem Zaghloul, one of the earliest inventors of Wi-Fi foundations. I just recently had an interview with him. He's a very humble person.
In your opinion, are there any like trends shaping the fintech industry today? I know in the Middle East, right now in Egypt and Dubai and Saudi, there are many startups that are starting in this field, and created even by locals, like people from those countries. So now there's a lot of bright brains over there that are coming up with solutions to the huge markets over there. I mean, look at Egypt. You have 120 million people living there. That's a big market. The Gulf states as well. It's a lot of people. Are there any trends, specific trends that are shaping the fintech industry over there where you are?
Absolutely. So if you look at Egypt, for example, Egypt has an abundance of challenges slash opportunities.
Yeah.
And this is where I come in as the head of partnerships and sales. I invite global and uh, global and local companies
Yeah.
or regional companies to set up a license and expand their business operations to generate revenue.
Right.
Um, yeah. So just to go a step backwards,
Yeah.
the name of the person who is the father of ATM PIN is Muhammad Atallah.
Okay. Is
He
he
is an
Egyptian?
American.
American Egyptian.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's an American Egyptian. Correct. You've done your homework. Awesome.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
What else?
Yeah. Go
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay.
And he's also alongside Roland Moreno,
Yeah.
whose invention we use every single day. So, for example, when we go to a store, we want to pay for something, we use the tap solution,
Oh, interesting.
contactless cards.
Yeah.
He is a French Egyptian.
Okay. Many Egyptians in here. Awesome.
Exactly.
Um, here in Europe, I'm not sure about North America. You tell me. In Europe, the regulatory landscape is quite strict, and I wonder, uh, what's your take on the landscape for fintech over there for companies operating in the Middle East? Is it more relaxed, regulatory regulations?
And in some instances,
Yeah.
yes. So, for example, if you look at the UAE, which holds the highest population to crypto owners ratio, they
Yeah.
have the highest in the world. Why is that? Because they put in the regulations in a proper manner uh, to supersede the pace which the US is trying to apply, for example.
Right.
Mm, uh, yeah, so essentially the UAE is sort of like the Switzerland of the world, where
Yeah.
you have a perfect mix of um, Asian Asian projects and
Yeah.
Western projects as well.
So say I'm a European entrepreneur. I want to start a company in the Gulf, in the Emirates, in the United Arab Emirates, for example. How hard or how easy is it to start a company over there? say you're an app that works, that solves a problem, a fintech problem. How hard is it?
So you have two types of licenses.
Yeah,
One is a general trading license, or even yeah, you can use that term for startups as well.
yeah,
And the other is a financial license. For a financial license, you have to go through uh, a few steps. One of them is the sandbox. One of them is applying for the for that financial license, and there are several categories, 3A and so on.
yeah.
And the positive thing about the UAE is that they offer you not one, but three areas where you can set up a license in. They
Right.
review your application,
Yeah,
and if you have, they require a certain amount of dollars, let's say, that you put in place.
yeah,
And if all goes well, you simply get it after they review your application and your business model, etc. That's for the UAE.
yeah.
Saudi's in the same pace. Egypt is also in the same pace. I recently met with the FR, sorry, not the FRA, but the Egyptian Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Their subsidiary, it's called Corbe,
Okay.
and they operate in the non-financial banking segment, which is insurtech, etc., credit scoring, eKYC, and so on. And they're launching an amazing platform or an ecosystem to help entrepreneurs boost up their operations in
Okay.
Egypt.
So is it like an accelerator or something, or what kind
Yes,
of ecosystem? Yeah. So they're
yeah,
helping with training, kind of in
training,
education.
investments.
Yeah.
They offer a working, sharing, a co-working space, etc.
Yeah. Are you also familiar with with the landscape in Saudi, or it's is it part of? Because I have a feeling like Saudi right now is like Dubai 30 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. So can you tell us if you know about the potential opportunities for maybe businesses that are working in the tech industry or the education industry in Europe or in the West in general? Are there any opportunities for them over there?
So that's two questions for
Yeah,
fintechs and for
yeah,
educational startups, right?
exactly.
Yeah, awesome. So let's begin with fintech.
Yeah.
Um, and I'll just make a quick comparison. Egypt has around 500 fintech startups
Wow.
currently.
Yeah,
That makes sense considering the population is
of course.
the highest in the Arabic region with 105 million at least. Now, in regards to Saudi, they have a vision called Saudi 23. And for fintechs, they aim to increase the number from 127, more or less, or 170 something fintechs
Mm.
to 500 and something fintechs
By
within the next
2030, right?
precisely.
Yeah.
So that's in regards to fintech. So that's going to be a lot of work for the central bank, but I'm sure that that's if it's within their line, then they're more than capable of doing so. In regards to educational startups or
Yeah.
startups in general, I think there's a huge opportunity within that space, and hence why this book is
Of course.
provides also
Yeah.
it encourages financial literacy. This book does not only talk about fintech or
Yeah.
more specifically payments. It talks about economy. It talks about certain inventors or inventions to inspire them.
Of course.
Talks about a lot of things
Yeah.
to encourage financial literacy. And one of the things that is difficult within the Arab world is the concept of riba
Mm.
and loans,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
right?
Yeah. There's a
But
it's a thin line there, so it's quite delicate.
precisely. But if the highest ranking religious authority tells you that there is a difference between riba and loans, people need to understand the meaning of riba first. In Arabic, it means excess.
Yeah.
And what is that referred to? It refers to excessive interest.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, where do we draw the line between excessive interest and acceptable interest?
Right.
That's a relationship between the religious authority and the central bank.
Yeah.
Um, so it is permissible by these religious authorities, according to certain conditions, which we mentioned in the book, such as being financially literate, using these funds for amounts that improve your life, the quality of your life, not just consumable products, for example.
Yeah. So yeah, it's
Absolutely.
definitely important, and I'm sure as countries, like in the Gulf, in the Middle East in general, as they move forward in their path towards prosperity, they will need to educate their populations on money, on entrepreneurship. There's a huge need for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we mentioned earlier, the more challenges, the more opportunities, especially
Definitely,
in literacy, education, finance, and so on.
exactly. Um, Going back quickly to the YouTube video, and I know maybe you don't want to talk much about it,
Okay.
but how did it get 9 million people? Well, you still didn't answer the question. Was it just luck? Like, what happened? Like, how did you crack the code?
It wasn't, I wouldn't call it luck. I would say that I believe that practice makes perfect. There are a few strategies that you can utilize, but essentially it boils down to when you work hard, you're going to expect some positive outcomes. So, for example, one of the artistic endeavors that I've taken uh, early on was the video, and I worked. It was, let's say, it came at a difficult time. However, I made it happen with the assistance of my colleagues. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to make it happen. It would have been more difficult to make such a project work. Um, so if you work hard, you're bound to have some positive results. And so, for example, I haven't achieved major results such as 9 million views on the book, but
Come on,
I'm
you're only
certain that
28. So
at a certain
you're only 28.
right,
You have the time. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So so I'm certain something positive will be
Come
is
out of.
bound to happen.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's essentially the harder you work, the more positive things
Definitely.
you
And I
attract.
think you could even like uh, put out content from the book. Like, you turn the book into audiovisual content. That would be
Now you're
extremely
sharing my
interesting.
secret.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just kidding.
I mean, it makes sense, right? I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to listen to the insights and all the work you put in, research and data in it.
Thank you,
Um,
and
yeah.
your help is significant.
No, definitely, and I'm glad we our paths have crossed. Looking ahead, what are your future projects or areas of work, research, or are you still focusing on fintech, or are there any other fields you're exploring right now?
Well, I certainly hope to be still involved within the fintech sector.
Yeah,
However, I believe that technology is the way ahead. So whether I divert from this segment to another is is not a major concern as long as it's technology. Technology. Um, I always I always advise people to learn more about technologies, learn more how to make websites, um, because technology is, how do I say this? It's a certain magic. You
mhm,
simply have to, and I don't want to dehumanize
yeah,
by saying this, but um, it it's the most affordable way to build something nowadays is through technology. It simply without getting into too much details, you can create logos, you can create websites using website builders, even as a
right,
design, as a prototype, etc. This is the way forward, and yeah,
definitely. Even
and
AI
especially
now.
with
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, and one last thing is Web 3. So the transition from Web 2.0 we've lived in the era where we used
Yeah,
to connect the telephone lines to our computers, and now it's like almost everywhere. So
definitely.
uh, interesting things are going to happen.
No, definitely. And we were talking about financial literacy, and I think we're could even talk about digital literacy, tech literacy. It's moving so fast, and the pace is much faster than before. The AI things are changing. If like you need to stay on top of things to be able to know what's going on around you.
Yeah, not only for the competitive quote unquote human market,
Mhm.
but we're now going to face AI as a challenge. So yeah, we definitely need this.
No, exactly. And I read a quote somewhere about AI. It was goes like AI is not going to replace someone who knows how to use AI is going to might replace you. So
Exactly.
yeah,
We laugh about this now, but it's interesting, I
yeah.
would say.
No, but I mean we still need humans, I guess. Um,
Certainly.
where can our listeners find more about your work and connect with you online?
Awesome. So what you could do is you can either I'm gonna take the opportunity to screenshot this QR code.
Yeah,
You can either use this QR code.
great.
Otherwise, you can find me on LinkedIn by the name of Amro, Amro El Sayed, Elsayed.
Yeah,
And otherwise, they can just ask you. In
awesome.
regards to the book, it will be out on Amazon.com. So you can find the book over there as well.
Perfect. Was there anything I should have asked you that I forgot to ask, or anything you wanted to cover maybe?
No, I look forward to following your work when it comes to edutech. I think this is a sector where a lot of people can benefit from it, especially within the Arabic region.
Yeah.
So that's positive.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, thank you so much. I look
Definitely.
forward to learning more about your adventures, maybe a sequel, maybe your next book. This time could be out on edtech in the Arab world.
Hey, well, you have to be the co-author.
Yeah, inshallah. Okay. Take care, man.
Inshallah.
Cheers.
Thank you.